Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here, and welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Thursday, July 28th, and welcome to a new day. Hope that you're having a great morning so far, and thank you for being here. I've got my cup of tea this morning. It is orange pekoe from Sri Lanka, and it's a really nice tea. It's made apparently from the high altitude leaves, very perfect conditions for a spectacular tea. And it's actually not got any orange in it, but it's called orange pekoe. So I'm enjoying my tea. I hope you have one too by your side, and just let's sit down and relax. I'll bring you up to speed on the news and talk a little bit about some feel-good stories to get our day off to a great start. But first of all, I have a favor to ask you. If you have a chance to talk to a friend today about 60 and Me, please introduce them to Mornings with 60 and Me. And you can point them to 60andme.com/mornings and let them know what we're doing here every day. You know, we are stronger as a community together, so I really appreciate your support in getting the word out and having more women join us every day on this journey. Okay, so the things happening in the world, in the States, of course, the Democratic Convention continues, and last night President Obama spoke. And he spoke very highly, of course, of Hillary Clinton and endorsed her as a presidential candidate. And he talked about all kinds of things. I watched most of it, and it was very interesting. He talked about values and about the things that underpin a society. And he talked about the fact that it's not really just about voting for electing a president. It's about getting change across the whole spectrum of community leaders, mayors, police forces, people who can really implement change, and that is that working together as a community and having aligned values that's really important. So I thought that was quite powerful. And he, of course, said that she was, in his opinion, eminently qualified to be president of the United States. And he talked about her tenacity and her strength of character. And one part that I thought was particularly powerful was when he said, yes, she's made mistakes. He said, I've made mistakes. We've all made them. And that's what you get for trying. And when he said that, I thought, that is so true of us women as well, over 60, is that in our lives, we beat ourselves up for mistakes we've made, things we could have done differently. And, really, we just have to be proud of ourselves for basically just going for it, just trying things. And yes, you're going to make mistakes sometimes, and you're not going to be perfect, but there's enough goodness there in the lessons that you learned. So I think that's kind of interesting. Vice President Joe Biden spoke very well, and also Michael Bloomberg, the ex-mayor of New York City, independent, gave his endorsement, and that's an important group that the Democratic Party is trying to reach. So it was a very interesting evening at the convention. In Turkey, I just wanted to mention that the crackdown on the dissidents still continues, and President Erdogan has just shut down 45 newspapers, 15 television stations, and 3 news agencies. Trying to, in his opinion, establish some norm in what the messaging that's being delivered to the people in what he's calling his democratic Turkey. And it's a very complex situation, but it's just important to know that it's still going on, and that this reestablishment of values in Turkey is happening. The Pope is in Warsaw, Poland, and he is celebrating the World Youth Day. And the pictures are pretty remarkable. He has such a charismatic presence, and of course it's all a little bit shaded by the tragedy in France yesterday, when one of his priests was murdered by ISIS attacker. But anyway, World Youth Day is a celebration of our youth, and I think that's important for all of us, all ages. So in Syria, another quick news story there. The fight for Aleppo continues, but there was an attack yesterday in a place that really hasn't been affected too much by the Syrian war, and that was in the northeastern area. There's a village called Owamshi, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's a Kurdish town. And what's unique is that for the last 5 years, it's really kept itself away from all the challenge and fighting, and it kept its own self-rule. But yesterday there was an attack, and 44 people were killed. And the Kurds, by the way, are Syria's largest ethnic minority. So this is a very sad story. Of course, the war continuing is a sad story, but it just shows that there's still a lot of unknown and unpredictable things that are happening. Keeping with ISIS, in Morocco, they have just arrested 42 people who they say were planning terrorist attacks in the Morocco area. So again, everyone's on the alert, and I think there's just a lot going on in the world that is unsettled by the situation with terrorism. In Venezuela, there's also, I wanted to highlight this. A few weeks ago, we talked about the women in Venezuela, or many women, marching to Colombia to get food and medicine because there's such a dire situation in Venezuela right now. Sometimes we forget that there's a world out there that's dealing with some really dramatic things. Venezuela's economy is suffering because of the drop in oil prices, and also just CNN did a report on this, and they say that it's basically a lack of empathy, a lack of accountability for what's going on in the country, and it gets back to that lack of respect for each other. So Venezuela is a place to keep in our hearts, and thinking about the average person who's dealing with this is very, very sad. So here's a feel-good story. Now, this was kind of cool. A lady called Rose sent me an email. She's in our community. Hi, Rose. And she sent me a story and said, could you feature this story? It's a feel-good story. And I thought, well, okay, I'll read it. And it was great. It was actually, surprisingly, about an elephant. And this elephant had been chained up for 30 years. And this woman, her name was Samar Khan, she decided to circulate a petition and to get this elephant freed. And after many, I don't know, months or years, she actually managed to get him free. And now he's in a sanctuary where he can mix and mingle with other elephants and just, live his life. And that was a sweet story. The video is very cute. But the point was that Rose made is that this is like women in their 60s. And she saw the analogy that, sometimes we feel contained and controlled and maybe imprisoned a little bit by the past, by stereotypes, by fear. And this is a perfect example of a story that shows you can be free, you can start again. And thanks, Rose, for thinking of us. I do think it's a sweet story. And thank you for making the connection and feeling that empathy for other women. It was great. And so the final story today, the feel-good story, today is officially Milk Chocolate Day. Now, I live in Switzerland, so I'm in my opinion, in one of the best countries in the world for great chocolate. And I was reading today that chocolate, actually, milk chocolate, was invented in Switzerland. And there's, of course, Nestle and other big companies, Lindt and Sprungli, that have now sort of dominate this part of this industry. But it's Milk Chocolate Day. So you can go off and celebrate this day with a bar of milk chocolate. And I love Cadbury's, actually. I'm still got my British favorite. But anyway, the thing that's good to know, there's a really good reason to celebrate milk chocolate because it's good for you. And we've written about this before, but it's true. And the reason, if anyone asks you today, is because milk chocolate contains a stimulant called theobromine, I'm looking at my notes here, and a compound called anandamide. So anandamide and theobromine. And they're good for you. Makes you healthy and strong. So eat your milk chocolate today and celebrate. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, I want to just remind you, by the way, that we really appreciate it if you would go up to 60andme.com white mornings and sign up to receive the news first. We need your support, and as I said earlier, tell a friend. That's really a great way to share the good news about 60andme mornings. And I have a question for you, which has just come out through the news stories today, and it's kind of an important question for me, and that is, what is the one value that you consider most important in your life? Is it happiness, love, compassion, honesty, curiosity? What is the one value that you think is important in your life? And let's have a conversation about this. It was great to see all the women talking about the questions every day, and talk to each other, like each other's comments, add your own thoughts, and I'll join the conversations as well. So just to remind you, the question is, what is the one value that you think is important in your life? So have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a great morning, and we'll speak to you again tomorrow on Mornings with 60 and Me. Thanks for being here.